What's up, everyone? Coach Dan back here. Just had a great conversation with Coach Charlie and Coach Izzy, and we were talking all things motivation. So we got some great tips, advice, and insight into all things motivation to hopefully get you a bit more pumped up, back on track with your goals, and get that I can, I will attitude. Hopefully you guys find this helpful. When you finish, please leave a comment. Let us know how you found it. And if you've got any further questions, let us know. Enjoy the video. Hi everyone, welcome to this Coaches Roundtable episode. So it's myself, Coach Dan. I'm here with Coach Izzy and Coach Charlie, and today we're talking everything to do with motivation. So hopefully we've got some tips here that can help you out. So thank you both for joining us today. So Izzy, we had a bit of a conversation about this last week, but we thought it'd be a good idea to revisit and get Coach Charlie on this week as well. We kind of came over a number of different topics last week, so we're going to kind of revisit those, maybe add a little bit more to them. So the first point we want to talk about is starting with why. So having a why, and you might hear that a lot in studio or online and maybe not quite sure what that means. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So having the why is essentially having that sort of deeper meaning or reason behind why you get up and train. Obviously, we know there's lots of inherent benefits to exercise, for example, that could just be, staying healthy and having a healthy body composition. But it could mean different things for different people, and you might have a deeper why. We've had a few people, mention maybe it was tied into being a good example for their kids, or something like that. That's a lot stronger than simply a number on the scale for them. Maybe like them having that deeper purpose helps them stay a bit accountable. So we just want to talk a little bit about that, guys. If you had any thoughts on why, starting with why.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you were saying, sort of that why is kind of the reason behind the start, isn't it? So I think it's always good to kind of keep firstly reminding yourself of that why throughout the journey. But also, I was going to say sort of letting that why change as well. So, when you start your fitness journey, it may be one specific reason. And obviously, as you move through that journey, it is a journey and it's going to keep evolving. So retouching with that as well, I think is really important throughout your journey.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. All I would say is that I sometimes struggle with what my why is. I think if you're doing a lot of exercise already and you get into a cycle or a routine and you kind of forget the whole reason you started in the first place, and I think you just, like you were saying, Izzy, you just have to sit down, maybe write it down again and revisit and see if the reasons are the same as where you started, and just check yourself, I guess, and try and look at where you want to be next and work backwards to how to get there.
Exactly. I really like that idea, sort of reverse engineering a little bit. I think writing down your goals or putting pen to paper and saying, oh yeah, I want to feel like this, or I want to do this, or that's really good. And then it can help give clarity, right? Okay, this is what I want and why. So I need to do this. I need to not do this. I need to do that. And that does help you. So I think that's really good. Both of those really good points. And talk about writing down, that kind of leads on to our next topic, which was writing a plan. So having a plan or sort of scheduling things. This might not work for everybody, but some people really adhere well to it, and we saw Emily, I think, posted or Kat posted sort of a template this week to help you plan out your week a little bit, so you can put in different workouts or drinking your water, different things like that. And we know for some people that can be helpful, having that sort of that prior planning and then having a roadmap to sort of follow and something to adhere to, so if you are on track or not. So guys, just wondered if you had any thoughts about sort of planning either your week or your life or just planning in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned last week when we went over this, I'm a bit of a planner, to say the least. And I also mentioned, though, at that point is how I think the word planning and scheduling can be off-putting as well, though, if you're not a planner. I know I've got a friend who's completely opposite to me, and if I'm like, right, let's plan the day out, she's like, you're taking all the fun out of it. But having a plan doesn't necessarily mean it has to be scheduled to each moment of the day. Just having the skeleton of what you want to do. So if it's, on Monday I'm going to do an OTF workout, on Tuesday, I've got that meeting during that time when the workout's on, so I'm going to do it on my own on YouTube. Just having an idea of what you're going to do with your day, even if it is just that skeleton of I'm going to work out on that day, can really help you to attack that plan.
Definitely. It also helps with your feeling of success as well. If you are able to just write a few things down and then each day tick them off, that does a lot for your kind of mental engagement with where you're going to go, and gives you that little boost, that boost to say, yeah, okay, I achieved something today. And it doesn't matter if you don't get it all done on that day, it can move on to the next day, the next week, and just, it helps you feel good too.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to touch on another point because of what Charlie said. Sorry, it just triggered me. Because the psychological side of it as well, though, because the whole ticking things off and how that does psychologically make you feel good. It made you feel like you've achieved something, you've done something you planned to. But also just keeping that, even if it's that skeleton of I'm going to work out 3 times this week, it psychologically starts to make it part of your week. So it's not something that you're adding in there. It becomes a natural part of your life. Yeah. Sorry, just wanted to throw that
in. No, definitely, of course. So I was going to add on as well is just hearing that made me think that there's a saying that what you measure grows. And in the sense that if you're tracking something, you tend to do it more, right? So if you write a list of 10 things you're going to do, even if you don't do all 10, you might get, say you might do 7. But if you hadn't written them down, maybe you would have done 2 of those things. So just the simple fact that you're trying to set a plan already seems to trigger something where you end up being a bit more productive and doing things.
So true. Love that.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about, maybe sounds a little bit the opposite, but just the idea of having variety in your training, and that might be a better approach for some people. So even if there's some level of structure, some level of planning, being a bit more flexible with how we get to that. So maybe just, you say, okay, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, for example, but that could be doing an online workout, or it may be you're just going to go for a quick jog, or you've been invited to, I don't know, go for a run with somebody else, or whatever the case is. So you had that flexible approach and it still stays on track, stays within your goals, but you just, you have that little bit of leeway. And I think it goes a bit with dieting as well. For some people, they experience a bit more success when they have structure, but within that structure, flexibility. So it's not like, all I can eat is this, or all I can eat is that. But no, this is the overall structure. And within that, I can have variety. I can swap this for that. And it's not the end of the world. I'm still on track. So you just kind of wondered if anybody had any thoughts on that, the idea of just having variety or flexibility within a plan?
I think flexibility helps make things more long-term. I think rigidity can make you resent something and you can fall off your plan and you can feel demotivated, especially if you deviate from that rigid plan. You can feel guilty and you can get into that kind of cycle of going up and down, in and out of a plan. So flexibility is just good for the mind, good for the soul. And then, I think even more now, whilst we're in lockdown, with the way we're getting active, we're having to be flexible because we haven't got the studio or we haven't got the gym to go to. So it's a really great opportunity where we are right now to try some different things. Like at home, we had a netball net that I hate netball. I never played it at school. I was not good at team sports and or just hand-eye coordination. And there was my sisters, and I thought, actually, I don't really want to go and do the same old thing down in the gym. I want to try something different. So now I'm like pro netballer and just being flexible, learn some new skills. Yeah, I love it.
That's great to hear.
It's true. I think probably a lot of us have experienced like kind of testing out new things during this time, because life has been, to say the least, a little bit samey. So yeah, I totally agree with what you guys are saying. Like just thinking outside the box sometimes. Like I think me and Dan were saying last week about how, you know, taking, like, say you've got kids, like taking your kids to the park, kicking a ball around for a bit, you know, or playing like rounders or something that's going to get that heart rate up, but you're not actually going to really notice that you're doing your exercise because you're having fun with your family. And just nice ways like that, you know, you can still fit your workouts in. And if it comes to the day and you think, I don't want to do what I planned, that's fine, you know, just go outside the box. Like there's nothing to say you got to stay within that rigid plan, just like these guys were saying. Like perfect.
100%. One more thing I just wanted to add on that though is just be wary of balance a little bit. So like I know a lot of us, for example, are doing a lot of running, for example, and maybe that obviously that's great and has loads of benefits, but let's still remember there's still benefits to maybe doing some resistance training, maybe doing a bit of upper body, a bit of core. There's other things to kind of have that more balanced approach, and especially when we get back into things, you know, you want to hopefully hold on to as much of the gains you've been making over the last year or so as you can. So just bear that in mind a little bit as well. Moving on to the next point I want to talk about was just the idea of knowing yourself. So obviously we all have individual differences and preferences, and there's different things that can make things easier or more difficult for us to adhere to. For example, some people love getting up and training first thing in the morning. Some people, they can't do that. They got to do it in the evening. Some people, you know, appreciate different types of motivational cueing or being taught to in a certain way. Something that's really helps somebody doesn't help somebody else. And so just being aware of those things. And as an example, if you're somebody who's missing having that extra push live with a person or training with other people, then maybe, for example, getting on those live classes could be a great opportunity for you to reconnect with that element. Other people, they might not need that. They're very self-motivated and they can go out and do it by themselves. Nobody has to know, and that's fine. Another thing, for example, is some people are very motivated by numbers. So they see numbers and logically it's like, okay, yeah, good, I did that. So, you know, we have the OTF app, for example, could be a great way for people to kind of see, okay, I still got my splat points. Or I think, Charlie, you had mentioned the other day how sometimes when you get this, you see the splat points, for example, it motivates you to push a little bit harder. So I think you were saying that?
Yeah, like I use the app for all my workouts, but sometimes I don't have the app on the screen. Like I might just go to a different screen, or I might be watching one of the workouts. If I'm doing a workout where I can have the app on the screen, I find that I earn more splat points because I can see my heart rate response, and I'm in the I'm like high green. I'm like, well, but I work a bit harder and get to orange. So it's kind of that visual thing for me that motivates me, and I can go a bit harder.
Yeah, big time. I think leaning on from what Dan said as well about the social element. I know I was doing a lot of like lone workouts in the start of lockdown, and very quickly started to feel like, oh, this is kind of boring. Like, and as soon as I got into one of those live classes, like it's just, you know, didn't miss one ever after, you know, because it was just kind of, it's having that element of obviously the coach firstly motivating you, but then just knowing, like, you know, you have a little chat before, like other people are there, it's that accountability, like, you know, it's just fantastic. So if you haven't tried one of the live workouts, I definitely do recommend that big time.
Awesome. Yeah, and that kind of rolls into my next point actually, which was just going to be talk about the idea of community. So at OTF we have a great community. And so just, you know, leaning on that a little bit, that can help you tap in to a little bit extra motivation, like Izzy just mentioned about having accountability, that extra encouragement, and just sharing how you're getting on with us. You know, maybe you get that little bit extra boost seeing that other people are doing the same thing as you, or, you know, getting some feedback, or even if it's something simple like somebody, you did a workout and somebody else did a workout, and then you're both talking about, oh, wasn't the third block amazing, you know, or whatever. So just, just that idea of using the community, not just feeling that you have to rely on everything yourself, but maybe reach out and listen and share. So I know Izzy just talked about that element quite a bit, but I don't know if you guys had any more thoughts on sort of the community helping you out.
Yeah, definitely. So, like community, obviously there's the support factor, there's that accountability factor. I mean, like, I know one of the great techniques which we can all take with ourselves, and I take with myself as well, is telling someone that you're going to do the class, posting it online, right? I'll be in that class, because that's it, you've said it now. And if you're anything like me, the guilt from not doing it if I've said I'm going to. So it's a fantastic way of doing that. But something I actually just wanted to touch on with momentum as well, which kind of goes back to something I've said before, but the whole something's better than nothing idea. So there might be the odd day, you know, you get to the day and you're not feeling it. And, you know, we've talked about thinking outside the box, but as well, you know, if you planned on doing, you know, the workout, and say something comes up, you end up having a Zoom meeting with work or something like that, and you end up missing the workout, and you're like, oh, I was going to do that. It was a leg day, and, you know, like, oh, I don't know whether I feel like doing it now, you know, on my own. Just doing some of it, you know, like, even if you didn't do the full workout you planned on doing, even if you just do a mini version of that workout, you're still going to achieve something, and keeping that momentum up will mean it will be a little bit gentler then when you come back to doing more intense workouts.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about community is really important. And yeah, I think I speak for all of us as coaches and the rest of the team, that, you know, coming together on those big workouts is also fantastic. But if you want to have, you know, more of a one-to-one conversation with some of us, then we're right here as well. If you want tips on kind of, you know, some particular exercises, or you just want to know how to get back into the swing of something, then we're here. You know, this video is kind of hopefully inspiring you to do that. But if you need just a little one-to-one, little go you moment, we're definitely all here to help you do that as well.
Yes, love that, Jaya. Definitely. Reach out. We are here to help. So yeah, I love that. And then, yeah, just following on that idea of momentum that you were just talking about before, because that's one of the things we wanted to talk about a bit more, is we all can feel often that maybe we're losing a little bit of momentum, or maybe we're like, no, I'm smashing it right now. You know, you're not worried about it. But momentum, in my experience, definitely feels like it's a real thing that we sort of experience. And we made the sort of comparison last week about thinking about it as sort of like if you had a car that had broken down and you need to get it moving, say 2 or 3 of you are pushing that car, just getting it moving that first inch is quite hard, it's very tough, but then you get a couple steps and then eventually it gets easier and easier, and then before you know it, you know, you're pushing that car like it was really light, you know, you could almost run with it, you can keep accelerating. And we feel like that concept kind of applies to a lot of things in life sometimes, and that sometimes just doing something, just doing a little bit can help you. Okay, you did it, and then after doing it, you feel better. You know, you get those endorphins, you get that sense of accomplishment. And, you know, for multiple reasons, it becomes a little bit easier to do the next one, and then to show up again, and to show up again. And then often we find when we don't do something for a little while, we've lost some of that momentum again. But it's just important to remember that let's just start again. Let's just start small. Start with whatever, you know, is available. If you don't expect to go and hit a PB on your 5K time, but just go out and do 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever you need to do. And then hopefully that will help you going forwards. So just wondered if you guys had any thoughts on like momentum or that kind of concept.
Yeah, I mean, another point just that you just kind of made me think of was as well, like, there is that moment, and I think we were talking last week about this analogy. Great analogy. But that pushing the car, that first start is a little bit tough. And so as well, I wanted to touch on at this point is that if you have kind of feel like you've fallen off the wagon a bit, don't now feel disheartened that it's going to be hard when you get back to it, because yeah, it will be a little bit tough in that beginning, but you know just what it's like. If you've ever pushed a car, it gets moving real quick. And muscle memory is a fantastic thing within our bodies. It's a real thing. I know some people are like, isn't that a myth? No, it's real. So you know, your bodies will get back to where they were previously a lot easier than they did the first time when you first got to that point. So yeah, just get back on that horse, really.
Yeah, little something every day. There's never a bad day to start. Definitely.
So there's a phrase I heard that I kind of like, and it just says, do the thing and you'll have the power, which is essentially sometimes we just get caught up in how do I do this? I can't do this, you know. Or if you just do something, like you just do a little bit, and it just kind of has this good effect where things just start happening. And sometimes we just start thinking about it, and what we need to do is just do something, just do it, and then a little bit, and it will get better. It will get better from there.
That age-old quote, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, guys, one bite.
That's coming from vegetarian, vegan.
Vegan. Phrase though. I'm not saying go and eat another.
Yeah. Next point I wanted to kind of talk about was just sort of little hacks, if you will, I like to call them. So these could just be something that could give you that short-term boost in your motivation or your mood, and that could be different things for different people. So just highlighting things like maybe, you know, you've got that playlist, or you've got that album, that song that helps you get up and, you know, feeling a bit more motivated to go do things. Some people, it may be like they want to listen to a podcast when they're doing something, or, you know, that puts them in a good mood or a good mindset. Or maybe there's a video, or I don't know, some sort of a book, any kind of content that you might have that just puts you in a better mind frame. And I think especially, you know, we are with social media and the news and all that, we can be taking in lots of things that aren't exactly having a positive impact on our mood. So if we can just take the time sometimes to, you know, have those little bites of motivation, whether it's a song or a video or whatever, that can help you. So that's just one element I wanted to kind of talk about as well. And if you guys had any thoughts on that at all?
I have a few of my own hacks, I suppose, that I can share. So one of the things that really gets me motivated is to kind of watch films about athletes and sports stars, and kind of see people at the peak of their potential. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get there, but I really feel motivated to try, because I've got the vision of them in my head. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go lift those weights now because I feel good. The other thing is I have a little coffee before I go and train. Just give me a little bit of a metabolism boost, bit of energy, caffeine. And I'm really sad, but I listen to like the same album when I go and weight train pretty much all the time. I go and listen to Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, the whole album, What's Up Danger. If anybody needs like a sprint song, for me, that is it. They're my three things.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. That's not sad at all. I think there's probably some power in you having that, right? It probably helps trigger that inner Charlie beast mode, you know? So that's really cool.
It.
What sports films have you watched, or can you think of any? Not to put you on the spot.
The ones I've watched most recently are things like the CrossFit ones. So watching the CrossFit documentaries and stuff that are on Netflix, they're really good. And then actually, you know, what was it called? The one about being vegan, and it had Arnie Schwarzenegger in it. That came out recently. Yes. Even though that wasn't about sport. It was about, converting to vegan. You got these clips of people, going above and beyond and achieving their absolute best. So that was cool.
Yeah, watching sports definitely is something that does that for me. Like, and I think a lot of people like that, or even people like some people they follow, on social media. If you're following somebody like, I don't know, like The Rock, like Dwayne Johnson, like he's training, like time for me to go. Like, time for me to go train. You don't want to be.
Yeah, we need inspirational people to look up to and be motivated by, for sure. Oh yeah, and then The Last Dance, I definitely played much more netball and basketball after watching that.
Nice. That's awesome.
My hacks would be, so I think Dan, you already touched on podcasts. I enjoy podcasts because I really like getting that new information and like motivational speech. There's so many different types of podcasts you can listen to, but I find my attention span goes if I try and just listen to a podcast. So I found if there's a podcast I want to listen to, I actually kind of coincide it. So I'm like, right, I'm going to listen to that podcast. I'm going to work out, because you're doing something with your hands, and it's a lot easier to kind of firstly tune out of what you're doing. I find I work out harder if I'm listening to a podcast. So that's one of my hacks. Another one would be like mini challenges. So for instance, I don't know, like you might set yourself a little challenge where you're like, okay, I'm going to see if I can learn to do a pistol squat, or like a one-hand press up, something that you think's really like amazing that a human can do that with their body, and then setting that as like a mini challenge as well as your own just general fitness can really just kind of spice things up and give you like something else to feel like you're working on. I think that can be really beneficial. And then I did have another point.
Well, there's the weekly challenges as well. The weekly challenges,
yes,
we're doing
coming up are a little bit extra. That just made me think of that. That's they're just really good fun. It's like, how many burpees can I get in at the end of this 10 minutes? That's quite fun.
Yeah, and it's generally like when we're doing the challenges, they're like 10-20 minutes. So like if you just want to throw in something extra, a little fitness test at the end of the week, our Sunday challenges are a great way of doing that.
Oh yeah, I love those.
I love what you said, Charlie, as well, about like watching stuff that like inspires you. My things like parkour or like calisthenics.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, as soon as I watch one of those videos, I'm like, right.
Wait till your toe gets better, yeah? Wait till your toe heals, please, before you like jump off on your roof.
I've been doing lots of upper body calisthenics, don't worry.
That's awesome.
What's yours, Dan?
Oh, I think a lot of those things, like there's definitely like music I like to listen to when I'm training, but also, as you said, when you talked about watching videos, that definitely does it for me. Like, or if, for example, I like playing basketball, if I start seeing clips of basketball, I'm like, I need to go outside now and just like play. That was something that kind of got me into exercising anyway, was just being attracted to that. So yeah, that definitely a combination of all those things. Caffeine definitely as well. So all of those things. And just
what's the go-to tune?
I don't know, because it depends on what type of workout it is. There's like ones for like heavy lifting. There's ones for just kind of just going through the workout. There's that, it's the challenges coming on. I got to play this song now. It depends on what's going on. So I'll bear that in mind. Like when I know it's a 10-minute challenge, okay, I've got to queue up this song, and I'm doing it. If it's like a 40-minute workout, then it's like a different thing. So I've got playlists. Even at the OTF, like I got playlists for that, like cool down.
You always have good playlists. The cool down song is always the best.
We like that. One more thing I just wanted to talk about while I was here is because I saw Andy Williams made a post recently just talking about a book he read by a few books actually, one by David Goggins, one by Milton, and I would just say as well, books have definitely kind of done that for me as well. I haven't been guilty recently of not reading as many books, but I think that can be really it. In fact, there's been books I literally read the first chapter and like felt like I didn't need the rest of the book now because I'm already like pumped, you know. So I think it's definitely good to take the time sometimes to hear somebody else's perspective or be inspired by somebody else, and sometimes it can have a really lasting impression. So yeah, lastly, just kind of wanted to wrap up by our last point, which is kind of talking about being kind to yourself in this time, or sort of finding a bit of a balance between all this. So obviously, a lot of people may have had really specific goals that, for whatever reason, you know, they can't do right now. Whether they were planning to go on a holiday, they can't go on that holiday. Or they wanted to run in an event, they can't run in that event. Or, you know, what they were doing at OTF was helping them play hockey or play football, and the season's done. So, and for a lot of people as well, they're still working. They're working more than ever. They've got kids at home. There's lots of elements, and every situation is different. But just that idea of sort of being kind to yourself in this time, and, you know, check in if you need to, but just maybe just doing your bit, doing enough, doing a little something, not necessarily thinking you have to be breaking PRs, training 7 days a week, etc. So just kind of wanted, like, if either you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
I think it's a really nice way to kind of tie this whole chat up, because we started with, I'm back, sorry, low power. Just the way of wrapping up the whole thing, because we started with kind of set yourself a goal and set yourself a plan, and if you're able to kind of, you know, think about something long term, and yes, you know, some things have gone on pause, but reflect, have a look over what you've been doing over the last 8, 10, 12 weeks, however long we've been here. Have a look at how fast you're running 5K or have a look at, you know, how many press-ups you can do, or whatever those tiny little short-term goals you've set are. And I can guarantee that there's many successes in there. And that's one thing I think I definitely forget to do, and a lot of people forget to do, is kind of look how far you've come, and that, you know, there's success along the way. You've set yourself a goal to get somewhere, and whatever way it happens, there's positives all the way along. So that's my 2 penny.
Awesome, definitely great words.
Absolutely. And then just something I wanted to add was how, obviously, right, you know, we're all our biggest critics. Let me just say that first of all. You know, we all give ourselves a hard time, a far harder time than we probably give someone else. So just, you know, off the back of that, just remind yourself that, you know, we are humans. We're not robots. We cannot be 100% productive all the time. And, you know, our most productive and positive moments are probably going to be when life is a little bit more normal than it has been currently. So, you know, if you haven't been as motivated and as productive as you have been previously, don't beat yourself up for that. You know, just recognize that that's totally kind of expected during this time, you know. So yeah, like Charly and Dan were saying, just be kind to yourself, and, you know, just look back at that why.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful. Hopefully you guys feeling, you know, we had some helpful advice. Hopefully maybe fired a few people up, or you got some things to think about, take a little step back and then come back fired up. But yeah, hopefully that, you know, we found this helpful. We always want to hear from all our members out there as well. So please, you know, get in touch, leave comments, ask us any questions. As Charlie said, you know, get in touch. We always want to hear how you're getting on. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Unless you guys had anything you wanted to throw out.
Yeah, that's all good.
Oh.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone. Bye. Bye.